श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृष्णभानु सुतदेवे प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So we were going to start from verse 9.22. I believe we did 9.21 on Friday. So I'm going to share my screen. Is everyone able to see my screen now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so we can recite this verse. You can repeat after me. Ananyashchintayanto mam
Anantyashchintamam
ye jana pariupasate
ye jana paripashate
tesham nityabhiyuktanam
tesham nityabhiyuktanam
yogakshemam vahamyaham.
yogakshemam vahamyaham
Ananyashchintayanto mam
Anantyashchintamam
ye jana pariupasate
ye jana paripashate
tesham nityabhiyuktanam
tesham nityabhiyuktanam
yogakshemam vahamyaham.
yogakshemam vahamyaham
Ananyashchintayanto mam
Anantyashchintamam
ye jana pariupasate
ye jana paripashate
tesham nityabhiyuktanam
tesham nityabhiyuktanam
yogakshemam vahamyaham.
yogakshemam vahamyaham
Anyone else would like to recite?
Ananyaschintayanto mam
Ananyashchintayanto mam
ye jana paryupasate
ye jana pariupasate
tesham nityabhiyuktanam
tesham nityabhiyuktanam
yogakshemam vahamyaham
yogakshemam vahamyaham. Anyone else?
Ananyaschintayanto mam
Ananyashchintayanto mam
ya jana paripashate
ye jana pariupasate
tesham nityabhyuktanam
tesham nityabhiyuktanam
yogakshemam vahamyaham
yogakshemam vahamyaham.
vahamyaham.
Anyone else? Okay, let's recite the synonyms. Ananya,
Ananya,
having no other object.
Having no other object.
Chintayantah,
Chintayantaha,
concentrating.
concentrating.
Mam,
Mom,
on me.
on me.
Ye,
Ye,
those who.
those who.
Jana,
Jana,
persons.
persons.
Pariupasate,
Paripashate,
properly worship.
properly worship.
Tesham,
Tesham,
of them.
of them.
Nitya,
Nitya,
always.
always.
Abhiyuktanam,
Abhiyuktanam,
fixed in devotion.
Fixed in devotion.
Yoga,
Yoga,
requirements.
requirements.
Shemam,
Shemam,
protection.
protection.
Vahami,
Vahami,
carry.
carry.
Aham,
Aham,
I.
I.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. Purport. One who is unable to live for a moment without Krishna consciousness cannot but think of Krishna 24 hours a day. Being engaged in devotional service by hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers, worshipping, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, rendering other services, cultivating friendship, and surrendering fully to the Lord. Such activities are all auspicious and full of spiritual potencies, which make the devotee perfect in self-realization, so that his only desire is to achieve the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a devotee undoubtedly approaches the Lord without difficulty. This is called yoga. By the mercy of the Lord, such a devotee never comes back to this material condition of life. Kshema refers to the merciful protection of the Lord. The Lord helps the devotee to achieve Krishna consciousness by yoga. And when he becomes fully Krishna conscious, the Lord protects him from falling down to a miserable conditioned life. नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. I read the translation one more time. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. So Krishna is now pouring out his heart, what is in his heart. Very beautiful verse. Krishna says that, to my devotees who always think about me, to them I carry what they lack and I protect what they have. Vahamyaham. So this is a very sweet verse. There is one more sweet verse like this in the same chapter. We'll discuss it when we come there. But what's happening over here is, if you remember, in 9.15, Krishna had mentioned about other worshippers. So first 9.11 and 12, Krishna talked about people who understand Krishna completely incorrectly. Their understanding about Krishna is completely wrong. And he uses the word mudha over there. Then he talks about 13 and 14. He talks about the devotees who completely understand Krishna perfectly. Mahatmanas tumam partha devim prakramash. That's how Krishna had put it. So 15 and 16, Krishna talks about the devotees, the unalloyed devotees of Krishna. Then 15 onwards, he starts talking about people who partially understand Krishna. He mentions that jnana yagyena chapyane janto mamupasate ekatvena pratatvena bahudha vishvato mukham. So three kinds of worshippers. One is the people who consider themselves to be Krishna, aham guru upasana. Then he talks about the Vishwarup worshippers, people who consider the universe as God, and they worship the universe. Of course, we understand that universe is also a subset of Krishna. Krishna is the soul of the universe. It is Krishna who makes the universe function. Without Krishna, the universe cannot function. And Krishna also talks about the demigod worshippers. Ekatvena is the people who consider themselves as God. Prathaktvena bahudha are people who worship different demigods. And Vishvato Mukham are people who worship the universe as God. So these were the three kinds of worshippers that Krishna had talked about in 9.15. So they get it partially correct. So then Krishna starts elaborating on these. So first Krishna had talked about the Vishwarup worshippers. They were mentioned in from verses 9.16 through 9.19, and in 4 verses, and 21 and 22. And it is like a combination of both demigod worshippers and the Vishwarup worshippers. So I think 20 and 21 were covered by Madhuri Kishori Mataji on Friday. And now Krishna is clearly comparing. So if you remember what Krishna had mentioned in the 20th and the 21st verse, he had said, Traividyamam somapaha putapapa yagyariштva swargatim prarthayante. Te punyam asadya surendra lokam ashnanti divyan divideva bhogan. So he had mentioned that people who actually study the Vedas and they drink the soma juice, their idea is that they want to attain heavenly kingdoms, because Vedas, it basically deals with Traividya, which is the 3 modes of material nature. And they want to enjoy in heaven. And then basically they get purified of their sinful reactions by the dint of their reading the Vedas, following the Vedas, drinking the soma juice. and they will attain Surendra Lokam. Surendra is Indra, and Lokam, the Loka of Surendra, is the heavenly planet, the heaven. And then Krishna says they will enjoy godly delights over there. That's how Krishna puts it. But right in the next verse, Krishna brings them down. Tetam bhukta swarga lokam vishantam vishalam Shine punya martya lokam vashanti evam trai dharmam anuprapanna gatagatam kama kama labhante. So he says that after they have enjoyed heavenly sense pleasure, and then what happens is all the punya, the pious credits that they had accumulated, all of that has been over. Once it gets over, lapsed, as a result of their enjoying sense pleasure, then they return here again to this mortal planet. So basically he says gata gatam kama kama labhante. They come, they go, they don't get anything lasting over. So they just, and even to get to the Swarga Loka is very difficult. They have to work so hard. It's the following the Vedas, it's not easy actually. So therefore it is mentioned that the role of a guru is very important, because in Vedas there are different kinds of sacrifices mentioned, and how to do them, and when to do them, and why should we do them, in what consciousness it should be done. It has to be understood properly. And then from morning to evening you have to be engaged, and there are different rituals mentioned. So basically the point is it's not easy. So they, with severe penances, they acquire these pious credits and they go to the Swargaloka. It's like going to a resort. When we go on a holiday, we work hard throughout the year, and then we think that, okay, let me go on a vacation, let me go to Disney. So what we do is we go to Disney, then we stay in a resort, and then it's so expensive over there. We can actually maybe live there for 3 days, 7 days, maybe 10 days. After that, we will run out of our budget. We just can't afford it after that. So you have to come back to our original home. So it's like that. So Swargaloka is like a resort. So to go there, first of all, you have to accumulate a lot of pious credits. And once you actually go to Swargaloka, you are spending those pious credits. And once your balance is over, then you have to come back again. And then again accumulate the pious credits. So gata gatam kama kama labhante. They come, they go, they don't get anything lasting. And now Krishna contrasts it with what the devotees get. Very sweet. Ananyas chintayanto ma ye jana pariupasate tesham nitya abhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. So he says, first of all, there is no to worship Krishna, and Krishna will mention it later in the same chapter. We don't have to follow too many rituals, and it's not very difficult. Worshipping Krishna is very easy actually. Krishna says, Man manabhav mad bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru mam evashyasi yiktva atmanam mat parayana. Just offer obeisances to me, become my devotee, always think about me. In that way, you can come to me. Surely you can come to me if you're engaged like this. And then what to offer to Krishna? Patram pushpam phalam toya. So simple, worshipping Krishna, it's not difficult at all actually. Just offer me some leaf, some fruit, some water, and that's it. If you're engaged like this, Krishna says, I will accept it. If you offer it with devotion and love, I definitely accept it. So worshipping Krishna versus doing this demigod worship, we can compare it later when we come to those verses. But Krishna says, what happens to that? People who are meditating on my transcendental form, to them, I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. I personally do it. So this is this one verse that talks about Krishna's heart. How much Krishna loves his devotees. So vaham, I personally carry. So now, we may say that in the same chapter, if you remember, Krishna had mentioned that matsthani sarva bhutani. I maintain all the living entities. So what is different between there and here? There also Krishna maintains, he is maintaining all living entities. And here also he is saying that I maintain my devotees. I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. But there is a difference. There is a lot of difference actually. So there, if you remember how Krishna is or how the living entities are situated in Krishna, there actually it is the function of the Paramatma, the super soul. As super soul, Krishna maintains everything. But here, Krishna is maintaining everyone as Bhagavan. He is personally doing it. His personal factor is over here. There, it was not so much personal. So there it is as a matter of more as a duty. Here, it is a matter of love. Krishna is doing this because he loves his devotees. This is what Chakravartipad actually explains in his commentary, that this is out of love. So he explains that just as Vaham Meham, I personally carry. He says, what does this Vaham Meham means? So he says actually that just as a lover and a beloved, when they're walking, so the lover, what he will do is he'll carry the beloved on his arms. Although the beloved can walk herself, but lover would carry him. Similarly, Chakravartipad explains that it is not that the devotees cannot maintain themselves. The devotees can, they are very much capable of maintaining themselves. But Krishna, as a matter of love, because he loves his devotees so much, he personally comes and delivers. So he carries what they lack and he preserves what they have. There is also a very sweet story which is connected with the same verse. Many of you might have already heard this story. This is the story of Arjuna Acharya. Now, Arjuna Acharya, if I remember correctly, he is one of the prominent acharyas in the Rudra Sampradaya. I might be wrong on that, but I can verify it later. But Arjuna Acharya's story is that he and his wife, they were very exalted devotees, and they used to such a great devotee. He was almost in a grahastha life. They were living like sannyasis. So Arjuna Acharya, there are two renditions of the same story. One says that he was writing a commentary, and actually Arjuna Acharya has written a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. And another rendition says that he used to read Bhagavad Gita every day. So whatever the case may be, either he was writing the commentary or he was reading the commentary, or he was reading the Bhagavad Gita. So this verse, when he read, Vaham Meham, so he thought that actually, so before that, what had happened was he used to beg alms all the time. So he would be busy in his devotional service, and when the time used to come, he used to go and beg alms, and he would only get what is necessary for him and his wife to sustain themselves. He will not get one single thing extra. So one day, what happened was he was too much engrossed in Bhagavad Gita, and the time for being the alms had actually passed. So it is mentioned that once it is past noon, the householders may or may not give alms, because there are certain reasons behind it. I'm not going to go into the reasons. So he goes after the time has crossed, and then he actually doesn't get anything at all. And that night he had to sleep hungry. And so what happened was, the next day when he woke up, he was reading this verse, Vaham Meham. When he saw that this verse, there seems to be some error actually here. I am also a great devotee. I mean, I'm also a very unalloyed devotee of Krishna, but he never carried anything for me personally. So what he did is he cut this word, Vaham Meham, he cut it with his pen. And then he left for begging alms after that. So what happened was, there were two boys, small boys, very sweet little beautiful boys. They came to his house and they knocked the door. So his wife, Arjuna Acharya's wife, opened the door, and she saw these two beautiful boys, so attractive, and they were carrying a lot of stuff with them. There were vegetables, there were fruits, there were butter, there was milk, and so many things that she could prepare. And then they put it in the house, and then this lady asked, who are you? I have never seen you, and why are you bringing all these things for me? So they said that actually your husband had sent us, we are his disciples, and he asked us to, this is the alms that he has got, and he asked us to basically deliver it to your home. He's still out there, he's doing something, so he cannot come himself. So this lady said, okay, fine, you can put it there. And they started leaving. And then when they turned around, she saw that on the back, there were very bad rashes on their back, as if someone has hit them. So she asked, what happened? Wait, what happened to you? Your backs are scratched there. So big rashes are there. So these boys said that, your husband, he beats us, he makes us work very hard. And if we don't work, he beats us. So these rashes are due to that. And then she couldn't believe, first of all, that how could my husband do this? But they just left. They didn't wait. And then she was waiting, and she was constantly thinking that how could my husband do like this? He is a sannyas, like he is not exactly a sannyasi, but he is not supposed to do this. So After a while, Arjuna Acharya himself returned, and of course he didn't get anything. He had gone to get arms, but he came empty-handed. But when he came, he saw that there are so many things which are there, and then he asked his wife that, where did this come from? So the wife was not talking to him. So he very politely inquired, why are you talking to me? What happened? What did I do? So then she said, you beat small children. So he said, no, I don't do it. What happened? Tell me. And then the wife narrated the full, incident that had happened. And then immediately it occurred to him that actually it was Krishna and Balram only who had come. And then he immediately ran to his Bhagavad Gita. And then he again, whatever he had cut, he realized that it is because he had cut those words. That's why the backs of Krishna and Balram were scratched. So he realized that actually it is because of me that it happened. And then he realized that actually Krishna and Balram do actually personally come and deliver to their devotees. So this is a sweet pastime, which is, I think Prabhupada also mentioned it once. There was one other pastime which is mentioned by Prabhupada in a lecture, I believe. This is the pastime of Sridhar Swami. It is not directly connected with this verse, but that pastime is that Sridhar Swami wanted to take sannyas, and he was a grahastha, of course. And Sridhar Swami, he's a great commentator on Srimad Bhagavatam. And even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had revered him as a great scholar. And he said that his commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam is the perfect commentary. So Sridhar Swami wanted to take sannyas, and so when he decided that at a particular time I take sannyas, he realized that his wife had become pregnant. So then he thought that it's not a good idea to take sannyas at this time because my wife is pregnant. Let me wait, at least let her deliver the child, and then I can take sannyas. So he waited, but what had happened was after delivering the child, due to the labor pain, the wife passed away. And Sridhar Swami thought, now what can I do? If I leave now, this baby, who's going to take care of this? And actually at that time, what had happened was there was a lizard that dropped from the from top somewhere, from the ceiling or wall, whatever. And then the lizard had just given birth to a baby lizard. And then the lizard also, either it left or it died, whatever the case may be. This baby lizard, it had just been born, and then he was thinking what happened. His mother is either ran away or died, whatever. And then suddenly he saw, now who is going to take care of this baby lizard? So then he saw that there was suddenly an ant came over there. And then when the ant was passing, this baby lizard just licked his tongue and caught the ant and ate it. So it occurred to him that actually it is Krishna who provides for everyone. It's not that we are doing it, but it is Krishna. So then eventually he takes sannyas. But the point is that we also become, we do like this, but this is like a story that Krishna always provides, whatever the case may be, for the devotees. So now I know we don't have much time left, but I want to mention one more thing, that ananyas chintayanto mam. How do we do ananyas chintayanto mam? How do we meditate on Krishna? What exactly is meant? So Prabhupada does talk about the 9 processes of bhakti yoga in the purport, that thinking, always remembering Krishna, becoming his servant and trying to develop friendship with him. So all these activities Prabhupada mentions. But Prabhupada also talks about, in a lecture, he says that we are so tiny, we are so puny. What can we actually do for Krishna? Actually, we can do nothing. So all we can do is, if we are engaged in somehow or the other in Krishna conscious activities, Krishna sees that this person, he is using his time and energy in my service, and that this is something that melts Krishna's heart. So he just sees that, okay, this person wants to do my service, or he wants to have a relationship with me. That's all. So at our level, definitely most of us, at least if I talk about myself, I cannot just sit and always just do meditation on Krishna and think about Krishna. But meditation also means working for Krishna, doing service for Krishna. So there are different services which are there. There are different ways in which we can fix our mind on Krishna. Even if we are not directly able to fix through meditation, there are other ways. So Acharya explained that there are the different ways to fix our mind on Krishna is, first of all, we can do his Rupa Dhyan. The Rupa Dhyan is the transcendental form of Krishna. So we have the deities in the temple. So we can actually meditate on the deities and we can actually serve the deities. Then we can do Leela Dhyan. Leela Dhyan is the different pastimes of the Lord. We can read the different pastimes, we can meditate on them, and we can relish those pastimes. Then we can do the Seva Dhyan. We have different services for Krishna. Each one of us, I believe, we do some of this other service for Krishna. So we can think about, we can meditate on how can we improve our service for Krishna, or what else can we do for Krishna. So that is Seva Dhyan. Besides that, we have the Shiksha Dhyan. The Shiksha of Krishna is given in different scriptures. Most prominently, the Bhagavad Gita that we are reading right now. That is also a way of fixing. If we remember what instructions were given by Krishna, if we can recite those verses, we can meditate on those verses. That also is a way to do Ananyas Chintayanto Mam. So like that, there are different ways in which we can engage ourselves. Prabhupada says 24/7 we have to do it. So now most of us, we also work. So how do we, if we are working, how can we think about Krishna? Is it that, I create two different lanes in my consciousness? One lane is thinking about Krishna, and one lane we are working on our, whatever work we do. It's not like that. If we follow the basics that is given by Srila Prabhupada, if we are engaged in, at least 16 rounds of chanting every day, and reading the books that are given by Srila Prabhupada and other acharyas, and if we are engaged in our services, and as much as possible we can do our services to the best, that is at least at our level, it is good. It will definitely help us to progress further. So I know I have exceeded the time a little bit, so I'll stop here and see if there are any questions or comments or corrections about what I just mentioned today.
This is a favorite verse for a lot of people. At least a few devotees that I know.
Right, this is a very sweet verse.
Yeah, they are. I know in Laguna Beach, I knew a devotee, Premanjana Mataji. This was her favorite verse, and she felt like whatever she lacked, somehow Krishna will carry for her.
Yeah.
She had that faith. But I was just thinking, actually, Sujata Mataji said something nice, sweet to me today, that Krishna might carry whatever we lack, but he's also looking at our long-term well-being, not necessarily our short-term well-being that we're looking for sometimes.
Very true, Mataji. Yeah. Sometimes we think that, this is, we think that this is the only way in which, I need Krishna's intervention in my life. We just have one thing in our mind, and we think if this is how things work for me, I'll take it that, Krishna is, helping
Exactly.
me.
That's exactly where I was going.
Yeah.
We are expecting him to take care of us the way
in a certain way.
Yeah. In a certain way, exactly.
Right. But we only have a limited vision, and we have only a limited understanding of things. But Krishna is omnipotent. He is, omniscient. He understands everything. He can see everything, and he can see past, present, and future. So what he will do for us will always be the best. We cannot, all we have to do is just do Ananyas Chintayanto Mam. And then, of course, we don't expect Krishna to do miracles for us, but it is Krishna's promise in one sense that, if you are doing this, then I will take care of you. So there is one more sweet verse like this, which is the 29th verse in the 9th chapter. That is also very, she says, Ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya mai te teshu chapyaham. That whoever worships me like this, they live in me and I live in them. So that also is a very sweet verse to meditate on.
And there is that one too, right? Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvatra chamai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachame na pranashyati.
Very true, Mataji. That is on the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. Yeah. Where there he is talking more about a yogi, but yes, there he brings the discussion from, first he says that one who can see himself and who can see the soul, then that is called samadhi. But then he takes it one level higher, that one who can see me, then that's how that verse comes. So that kinds of becomes bhakti over there. That is no longer just yoga.
But what is the exact meaning of pranashati? Pranashati means
Mean destroyed or
destroyed.
fall down.
Yeah, so he will not be destroyed.
Name
he
bhakta
says,
pranashati.
yeah.
So there's we also do that, right? The brahmanas in the deity worship, we have that verse. It's very sweet. I like that verse. I only saw that verse after I started doing deity worship in the temple. Pratigya tava govinda name bhakta pranishati iti samsmritya pranan sandharyamyaham. That it is your pratigya, it is your vow that your devotee will never perish, and by remembering this over and over again, I have I am holding my life here. So
where is that from?
I don't know where it is from, but we read it after we are done with the
I see. The deity service.
Yeah. So, but it is actually from the Bhagavad Gita. So, in a sense, that pratigya tava govinda. So, Krishna says to Krishna that name bhakta pranishyati. Konteya pratijanahi name bhakta pranishyati. He says, just go and declare it boldly that my devotee will never perish. So, this is like a promise of Krishna to his devotees. That
In Prabhu, one a very sweet verse in chapter 12 also is Teshaham samuddarta mritasagarat bhavami noitrat partha.
Right. That's also a very nice verse.
Yeah. He won't wait even a fraction of second.
Right.
No chirat partha.
Nachirat means without any delay. Yeah. Any other comments? Anyone would like to add their realizations?
Those two pastimes you spoke about, I really liked them, Prabhuji. And I was thinking just that when you brought up the verse, because in Chaupati, they acted out the drama of that Arjuna Acharya's wife, him scratching and the two boys, one dark boy and one light boy coming. That whole pastime is enacted, into a drama. It's a very beautiful drama. People want to see it. And also Sridhar Swami is, seeing the lizard, the baby lizard surviving. And he says, if the lizard can survive, then my baby can survive too. It's a human baby. Somebody will take care of it. This is more important. The world needs this contribution. And then he took us,
Of course. And Sridhar Swami made
pastimes, were very nice.
Sridhar Swami made a phenomenal contribution actually. So his commentaries are awesome. His Bhagavatam commentaries, and that has become like a standard now. So if someone writes a commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, it is compared to Sridhar Swami's commentary on the Bhagavatam. So also there is actually one more pastime like this, not exactly on this, but where Krishna himself comes. So this, I believe, is the pastime of Jayadev Goswami. So when Jayadev Goswami was writing Gita Govinda, so there, anyone remembers that pastime? Anyone has heard about it?
Yes, Prabhuji, it's elaborately spoken in the Gaudiya Vaishnava.
That's a popular pastime,
Yeah. So
that is where he writes that he's bowing down to Radharani's feet, and then he thinks he can't write this, and he goes to bath, and then Krishna comes and finishes that verse, and his wife is eating when he comes back, and it has never happened. She always eats after her husband. So he was bewildered why she's doing that. And then he said, you just came and ate. And then he realizes it was Krishna himself who ate. And he said, you are more fortunate than me. You actually got to see Krishna. His wife Padmavati.
Right.
Isn't there another pastime of, I forget if it's Jiva Goswami Sanatana, writing about the braid of Radharani as a snake or something, and also Krishna comes and writes that.
Yeah,
also,
that's Raghunath Das Goswami. That he says, he thinks it's a braid, and then they have a discussion, and then Sanatana Goswami, he told Rupa Goswami, you shouldn't compare Radharani's hair to a braid, but then actually during one of
The
the
snake.
Julan
The snake.
Yatra, yeah, there are a group of girls playing and swinging, and there's like a snake on the back, and Goswami goes and says, "You girls, you're so foolish. There's a snake on the back," and then the girls disappear and they start laughing, and he realizes that it's Radharani herself and her Sakhis that were playing, and he realizes that Rupa Goswami's description of Radharani's braid being like a snake is actually correct. It's factual.
Yeah, there is one more pastime where Radharani comes. I think it is with Raghunath Das Goswami or Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, where there is a lion that comes and trying to attack, and either I forgot that pastime, and then after that he gets chastisement from either Rupa Goswami or Jiva Goswami that you are engaging Krishna and Radha and Krishna in your service. You should be more careful. Don't sit on a place where the wild animals can attack you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but this pastime of Jaydev Goswami is also, I think that place where Krishna puts the feet of Radharani on his head is known as Man Mandir. It's near Barsana somewhere. It's a very nice place. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions, comments, any realizations? Okay, if not, then we can stop here. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhyubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Ganapati Govind Prabhu ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone.